Good evening from the Rando world. This is Link to Pass Randomizer League Season 5 Invitational. Tonight we have a Week 5 match between Adalor representing Oops All Foxes and Maximum Barnage representing Models on MP. Tonight I am joined by in the commentary booth with Skelly. Hey Skelly.
Hello.
So tonight we have Swordless. Do you want to explain Swordless?
Yep, so this is pretty much similar to your normal open seed, except as the name implies, the runners will never find any swords. So a couple changes have had to be made to make it actually beatable without finding swords. For example, Ganon is vulnerable to the hammer now, things like that. But otherwise, the only other big difference is there is just a single bow placed in the pool instead of two, and as soon as you find it, you have silver arrows immediately. Otherwise, just your typical open seed.
Yeah, there's some structural things in the game that have been changed to make it possible. The curtain before Aga 1's removed, the barrier before Mothula is removed, etc. and so forth. And here we go!
It's like Barnage is going for an Uncle route. Might have some divergence from the very start of the race here. Oh, nope, they're both going Uncle.
The correct route.
Yeah.
Just, all I need is bombs in the tree pole, and I'm justified.
So it looks like we got a red crystal at Eastern, and then blue crystals at the other two dungeons.
Little pause for a sync.
There's some hearts in that tier 1 pull, so they're going to have to find some other ways to get some rupees and bombs in the opening here.
Okay. Lamp
Wow.
and cape. Well...
Alright, where's the bug net?
Yeah, just give me a bug net and a bow, and let's just do it right now. Bug net and a hammer, bug net and fire rod.
Yep, that is one of those big differences between this and, well, sword full modes. No need to find a sword to get up to Aga, and since you don't necessarily have a sword, Bugnet actually does the job for you.
Would you say that in swordless mode, there's a higher potential for Aga seeds because you don't need to find swords?
Yeah, I guess I'd say that. I mean, normally it's, what, 4 item requirements to get up to Aga?
Right.
Well, in this case, you really only need the hammer and the lamp.
Yeah, both our runners are hoping to find that hammer pretty early. It pretty much substitutes for all your major weapon needs in this mode, so...
Yeah, the way I usually think of it is, if something requires the Master Sword, normally, you can use the hammer instead. If it's something that requires the Fighter Sword normally, then you just don't need anything. So medallions, the Aga Curtain, as you said, those are just completely free.
Right, yeah, those changes we were talking about. In areas where you can use a medallion to logically progress, there'll be symbols that are just on the floor, that standing on those symbols activates the medallion. But past that, medallions are useless in this mode.
And bush crabs are also dropping hearts, but the runners found 3 bombs, so that's good enough to get into CAC for now. That is exactly as many as you need to full clear CAC.
Lord trying to hunt down some bush crabs and kill a couple enemies, trying to find some more resources, but they are just not coming right now. A sword.
Yep. Green 20 and a red 20.
Yeah, so the swords have been replaced in the pool with green 20, so every time you see a green 20, that's a sword that you could have had, but you will not have.
So they're at least going to have enough money here to buy the bottle merchant item. They're still going to need a couple more rupees. If they're going to be able to buy bombs as well. Am I crazy, or did Adalor... Did he do the back of Blind's hut?
Don't think so, because they're missing about 30 rupees. I mean, hopefully they don't think about it, because there wasn't nothing back there, but that is interesting. I wonder if that was just a move on.
Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard for a second, but I think they did skip it. Definitely a mistake, but luckily for them, it's not going to matter. We didn't see anything good back there.
Yeah, oh no, they must have remembered. That's unfortunate. I mean, if you thought about it, you would definitely go back and do it, though, because your luck, that thing you missed is X. So, a small unfortunate time loss here, but probably better in the long term just to go grab it.
Yeah, a little too early to be making gambles.
So yeah, more ammo, more heart pieces. We've pretty much seen a shovel, and that's about it.
So far, Uncle had more stuff than Cac did.
Thereby justifying the Uncle start.
It's empirically proven to be a better opener.
Hey, one sample size is enough to say that it's right, yeah.
So Barnage went ahead and bought some bombs. See if Adalor does the same here. You kind of need bombs if you're going to do mini Moldorm Cave early on in modes like this. You really don't have anything else to work with.
Right. While the Aga climb I don't think can require bomb only as the logical means to get up it. I mean, it's very possible to have to use bombs to clear escape still and mini Moldorm Cave and all those things to try to find upgradable equipment. So, gonna need a healthy supply.
Oh, and there's that hammer.
Speaking of which,
big sword, more or less.
Adalor goes over and sees that, thinks, probably gonna want that.
Yep, I think Barnage got that blindly, so that's a little bit of a time save for him, and he's just gonna walk straight over to the shovel spot from here. And then presumably we'll see South Shore after this, just like normal.
Right. You have everything you need to clear Aga now, but lacking Moon Pearl, it's probably not the right gamble, but I wouldn't be surprised to see runners, if they pick up a Moon Pearl, just run for it. And finding a boomerang in the dig spot, in this mode especially, boomerangs are not necessarily a bad thing. Instead of killing everything, just stun and go around them. So boomerangs hold a little more weight.
Oh yeah, boomerang, a hookshot, amazing items in Swordless. But yeah, whenever that Moon Pearl shows up, that's going to be an interesting point for decision making here. Because that would put a lot of Dark World in logic already. But who knows, maybe a glove is just sitting around somewhere like by Eastern.
Definitely take a Samari out of the dam.
Yeah, it's another good item for offense early on, actually.
Yeah, it makes mini Moldorm Cave much easier. The blind fight with Samaria, some will say, is easier than the hammer. It's got a lot of uses, not just for its obvious intended needs.
Oh, Barnage's going left here, gonna go to Agina. You don't see people do this too often, but it makes complete sense. Otherwise, this can be a location that gets orphaned for a really, really long time.
Adalor only has 2 more bombs, so he's going to be pretty perfect here.
Yeah, can use the hammer, but hammering these Moldorms really sucks. And he is going to have an issue with Ice Rod Cave. If there aren't any bombs in here.
Small change and a couple bombs, bailed out.
Oh, I guess if you have the shovel, you can always go for desperate measures and just start digging around randomly and hope you find some more bombs.
Who's got time for that?
Oh, and Adler's going west from here too. That's interesting.
Maybe not having a pearl or enough money for Zora thinks we'll just leave that whole section for later.
Could be, yeah. So after this, what are we thinking? Do we go back to escape, or maybe head to the eastern area? Those are the two big options at this point.
If you're thinking it's an Aga seed already, I would just do escape and then just go right into Aga. So, and if this were me, I would go to Saha Eastern and then do escape, assuming that regardless what I find in the basement, unless it's a glove and a pearl, I'm just going to climb from there.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can save yourself an extra trip to the castle. Adler is actually going to look at the ledge item. Barnage skipped this, but we'll get some intel here. And it's just junk. First look at Ice Rod Cave on Barnage's side. And it's nothing. That's good news for Adalor, because that location is orphaned pretty hard on their end.
Neither player you're choosing to fake flipper. Without a pearl to do the waterfall or money to do Zora, I'm okay with that play.
And just 20 rupees on the island. It's a fast check if you're on your way to Eastern anyway. So both runners more or less doing the same opening route. Aside from that Ice Rod Cave, they've checked everything that each other have checked. Our green pennant is Misery Mire. That's usually a good sign. Don't have to worry about hammering Viddy to death today, unless it's a ped seed or something.
Yeah, we found Samaria early, so of course one of those dungeons was going to be useless.
Yeah, probably both of them at this rate. And both of them deciding to go into Crystal Eastern. It won't be able to finish this dungeon unless they happen to find that bow here. But when your only other options are basically Sick Kid in the front of Escape, you might as well just do this if you're going to Sahas anyway.
Right, anything, if it does turn to be an Aga climb, anything you find in here is a benefit. I mean, just using the hammer for the climb is not fun. Bow, fire rod, half magic, literally any of those options just make it a better, higher chance for success.
Yeah, at this rate, they're just going to have to use a boomerang and the hammer for the climb, and that sucks.
Right, even blue mail in this case, especially in swordless, you'll see a lot of runners take a lot more safeties, as we see the pearl there.
Yep, that's a good sign. Pretty much guarantees that this is going to be a required double dip.
But without the the muscle memory and safety of a sword, you'll see some runners see out of the way heart containers and be like, maybe I'll pick that up. You'll go into K45 and see a heart container where you may have left it before and decide, no, I'm going to take some time and grab that.
Yeah, for sure. They're probably pretty happy they both found a fairy in a bottle already, too.
Yeah, even that bee in a bottle for some of those red guard rooms can be super useful.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we've seen 2 items out of here so far. There's a chance we'll still find that third one before getting kicked out by the Igors that they cannot kill.
Our tracker, Homie Beer, making a good point. There's some stuff in Dark World that's now in logic through beating Aga 1. The Pyramid, Hype Cave, Stumpy, Dig Game, all those things fit in logic now.
Yeah, and like you were saying earlier, it's a nice situation to be in now because pretty much all the remaining Light World checks are in Hyrule Castle anyway, right next to Aga. I think the only other thing would be Sick Kid. But so if they do find that glove or in Hyrule Castle, then they could still bail before actually committing to the Aga play.
I was too worried on Adalor's side. I was like, come on, buddy.
Oh yeah, not enough health to do the damage boost anymore.
Yeah, I tried for the damage boost, and some things kind of got out of hand, so...
I do have a fairy just in case this goes awry, but it looks like they have it under control.
A little surprised they didn't just pull the cape out, but they got through it.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, to be honest. So depending on where the small key is in the castle here, they might be able to get to back of escape logically using the lamp. But if that small key happens to be in the back of escape, that stuff is all going to be locked until they find the glove.
Yeah, I think both of our runners would be very, very happy to see a glove down in the basement here.
You know, Hammer Aga 1 is not that easy if you haven't practiced it a lot.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a rhythm to it that once you find it and put some practice into it, it's not terrible, but if you don't know it, it's rough.
Yeah. And they don't have a ton of health. Like we said, they do have a fairy each. Problem here, though, is you can't death warp unless...
Oh, there you go.
Okay, that's interesting. Because that might not actually be in logic. It is if the small key's in Dark Cross, but there is a chance that the small key's actually in Back of Escape, and that was the logical mitts.
That's a good point, but I don't think any runner is going to worry about that too much. But, I mean, that's something good to know. If we do find the key back here, it could be that the other glove is just sitting in Dark Cross, amongst other places.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, wow, okay. Very interesting. So this was probably a logical Agaseed.
Yeah, unless they're just sitting in the Dark Cross here, yeah. And that's something good for the runners if they pick up on to keep in mind what where the mitts can and can't be. I like Barnard's play here to definitely go get Dark Cross.
It's just arrows. Okay, well that's very interesting.
My Dark World route would definitely be Hype Cave up through Pyramid.
Yeah, it seems very likely that the mitts are going to be in Hype Cave or something like that. Now, even if you weren't really thinking about this convoluted logic, you're probably going to go to Hype Cave anyway here. So it might not really be that big of a deal. So we got pendants at Thieves Town and Pod, and I believe the other red crystals at Skull.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Adler actually returned to Sanctuary, so they might be doing the other portion of the Dark World that's not actually in Logic yet. Oh, when we see our bow sitting in Hype Cave.
Advance directly to Pod. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Yeah, Mitts and Pendant Pod.
Sure. You could beat it. Just go anyway.
Yeah.
Logic's only so useful. If you can beat a crystal, go. That's one thing to know, too, is Mitts can't be on Catfish, so that might be something you just leave for a while.
Yeah, that's true. And some arrows on Pyramid.
I assume those are arrows? I didn't see it.
I think they were arrows, yeah. Alright, no hesitation, going straight to Pendant Pod here. Adalor, you do have the Cane of Smaria. Easy to forget, but...
Ooh.
Does make this horrible room quite a bit easier.
Yeah, that's like the first inverted logic learning curve is that room. So some good divergence between our runners now. Adalor heading over to the west and the Skullwoods Vu area, while Maximum Barnage takes their items and goes into Pendant Pod.
I'm curious to see how much Barnage commits to Pod here. Like, if there turns out to be an item on Helmasaur, that's a pretty slow check. But, you know, it's all going to depend on what other stuff we find first.
I think if nothing else, Barnage is really hoping for a mirror in here.
Oh yeah, that'd be really nice.
Yeah, literally anything to justify the trip, but a mirror would be, at minimum, would be best.
Yeah, mirror, Mitts seems likely. Hookshot is also very likely here, actually. Something to make the seed make sense. Oh, does Adalor still have that fairy? Oh, no, never mind.
I think what you said earlier, though, makes a lot of sense that you're probably going to see the Mitts in here, I would assume. If not, then, you know, the other glove has got to be on either Stumpy or Race Game.
Yeah, that's right. He did choose to go straight from Hype to Pyramid to Pod, didn't he? So, nothing on Bumper Ledge. Adalor giving us our first look at Village of Outcasts over here. Oh, okay.
So Hookshot's in Pod, or one of the other checks we named, to get across the river?
I think it's got to be Hookshot, right? I don't think there's any other way. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
It's probably about the best way that this could have worked out for Adalor. It's gonna really suck for Barnage if that hookshot is just on Stumpy or something.
Right.
Stumpy or Dig Game. I mean, I think those are the only two other options. Unless it's Sick Kid. No one has checked Sick Kid, I think.
Oh, yeah, we could have just had it the whole time. Who knows? We're gonna go ahead and dive into Pendant Thieves Town. Maybe just the first four and dive out. We'll see what's up in front.
Yeah, Blind is one of those bosses that is dramatically harder if you don't have a sword. But at least Cane of Smart is an option. You don't necessarily have to go for the hammer strats. Oh, there's the ice rod in in Pod. So even if this wasn't what they're supposed to do yet, it's something they would have had to do eventually anyway, so this dip is perfectly justified now.
Yeah, regardless what they find, Barnage just gotta be breathing a sigh of relief, finding something in here. Yeah, especially a garbage item like Ice Rod that could just hide anywhere.
Makes you wonder, when is Adalor going to do Pod now? I mean, they already have mids.
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's going to be a long time unless they really get bottlenecked.
Let's maybe, if you find that mirror, you could pair it up with your finishing of Eastern, perhaps. Oh, is that the Sand Cart? Rip Death Warp.
Yeah, I was debating whether they wanted to take care of Helmelsar since they were right there, but...
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't counting. I'm assuming Helmasaur has an item, otherwise that would be an instant save quit.
I believe Helmelsar has an item, yes.
That is tricky, though, because there's, what, only 4 items or locations in Logic left, then? Including Helmasaur?
Delore, where are you going? Oh, Hammer Picks. Yeah, outside of Sick Kid and Stumpy, what is in Logic we haven't seen?
Big game, right? Or...
No, they did the game. It was just $100.
Oh, okay. MSN Adler's side.
So yeah, is it just Helma and Stumpy left?
I think so.
Because gross.
Yeah.
I guess the best thing that could happen to Adalor is if that hookshot is actually on Helma, because that's going to bottleneck them sooner.
Very curious what Barnage will do after Stumpy, if Stumpy does not have this hookshot.
Okay,
Oh, he
well,
does,
never mind.
okay. Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, it seems like he's been following along this whole glove nonsense based on that decision to go to Pod in the first place. But he's gonna find that hookshot in Stumpy. He's not gonna have to worry about going back there.
Pat did bring up a good point that we missed. Armos could have had the hook. You had to go into Dark World to get the bow to go back and beat Armos.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Someone in chat brought it up. That would have been gross.
Oh, yeah.
So with the hookshot, we're back in Logic, which is good, great, and grand. Both runners were able to avoid an AGA 1.
Yep, everything makes sense now, at least from our perspective.
So after turning in the frog, I would think the mountain is probably calling Adalor's name pretty loudly. It's just a matter of time to see how long it's going to take to get back to that ice rod, which is just in a terrible spot.
Yeah, mountain makes a lot of sense here for sure. I mean, you have the mitts, you have the hook shot, you can do everything. Love this song.
Barnard's going to stay out of Thieves Town, it looks like, which is good. Probably still on the hunt for that logical access to his gloves.
Yep. It's probably like, wait, the mitts were there? What?
Yeah, so, and I think as you observed too, kind of was following that path pretty well, so knew where the hookshot couldn't be.
People are going to sink, almost certainly going up to the mountain from here, and I would expect Barton to do the same shortly. But again, that big difference being Barnage has been to pod, he has the ice rod. And in the long run, that is a big advantage.
Echoing some of what's going on in chat as our runners continue to move around. You have the 3 pendant dungeons of Mire, Thieves Town, and Pod. If you get to the point where you're stuck, which one of those sticks out the most as I'm going here first, if you have to check a dungeon? I think for Adalor, he would choose Pod because he's already done the front of Thieves. It's a less dense check now.
Yeah, definitely. I think we saw... How many items did we see in Thieves already? 2?
At least 1.
So yeah, I would expect Pod would be the first thing that Adler would pick in that case. Oh, we're finally getting a look at Lumberjack here. Kind of forgot about this. Of course, it was never an option without the boots. But if you're about to go up the mountain, it's a very convenient time to check this. It's right next door.
How about some flippers?
Just a few more checks in the overworld. Still can't do Swamp with no mirror. Still can't do Ice Palace with no fire source.
Right. Flipper is just another required item you're going to need eventually, so better to have it now.
So for Adler's sake, hopefully this seed ends up turning into like a medallion hunt or something anyway. Because if it turns out just to be an ice rod hunt, that's going to be bad news.
Yeah, Adalor definitely needs something to be buried in a bad spot. an item on Helmasaur probably is his best option. Hey, there's a Fire Rod.
I believe that gives us a fully clearable Crystal Dungeon and Ice Palace to do now. But it is a little dangerous, so we'll see when they decide to go there. Hammerless Cold Stare is not a fun fight. Or sorry, Swordless Cold Stare is not a fun fight.
Yeah, our runners have a couple bottles. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little side path to go get some potions. Just spam Fire Rod as best you can.
Yeah, they got the money for it for sure.
Yeah, money has not been in short supply. I think what would be really interesting is if a medallion shows up on the mountain and it unlocks TR.
Yeah, that's true. That's the only thing that would stop Bardage from full clearing TR. Aside from Mimic Cave.
Both runners choosing to do the basement here. Having the hook shot could have done the pot.
Yeah, I find that a little surprising.
2 dungeon items in the bottom, so there's a pretty good chance there is something in the big chest. But yeah, I would find it surprising too. But this early, you don't want to leave anything behind, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, if you skip the basement at first, and then you find out that there is an item in big chests, like, you really don't want to go back for it. So I guess they kind of have to decide, like, now how comfortable would they be making that gamble. And I guess they're both just deciding, let's be thorough from the start here.
Barnage threading the needle there between that Moldorm and the wall.
I wish I had the bug net right now.
Oh.
Umail actually very nice. Especially when their health is still pretty low.
Yeah, that goes back to the safety talk we were having earlier. You know, you're going to grab those in this mode. Unfortunately, the big key did not lead to anything, so I'm sure both runners are real excited that they did the basement.
Yep, that makes you feel bad for sure, but little do they know that both of them did the same thing. Nice skill from both of them.
Oh!
Nice.
Yes, please. Alright, both the runners hold up the first crystal of the match and grab some boots. That's about as good as you could hope for. The boots come with a small caveat in this mode because there's no sword in front of you to protect you. So you're going to take a few more hits running around.
Aren't they just doing Spec Rock Cave now?
Yeah, I kind of thought they would do spiral in to Dark Death Mountain and then just save and quit and go up from the old man's save spot.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Hey, we heard you like bottles, so we put some bottle in your bottle.
Not getting the bomb jump quite right there, but managing to save quit before the transition, which actually saves a bit of time.
That dead rocks are just the worst.
So we'll get our look at the Turtle Rock medallion here. We haven't found any of them yet.
Show me Ether. Quake. Boo.
Vanilla.
No one likes Quake.
Yeah, Barnage is isolating Spiral Cave here, isn't he? Because with no mirror, that won't be an option after doing Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, not without climbing up again, which is not worth it. Luckily, it's just a bottle. That's not something that's super progressive that's going to set them back, but that thought's going to be lingering in their mind of, oh no, I left this behind. So chat was mentioning some things that can be on the pedestal at this point, and I think for Adalor's sake, you really want a pet seed. Hey, the bug net.
Not just a meme item in this mode, it's actually a really good item.
Oh, it's super useful in this, yeah.
It looks like they're both heading to Spike Cave next.
Oh, a very clutch fairy in that bush for Adalor.
Yeah. This is in logic by having the cape and at least one bottle, because it's assumed you'd use that bottle for a magic refill. That red potion probably would have done the job anyway, but yep, that fairy spares them from having to use it.
And like always, whenever you check Spike Cave, there's nothing there. Little indecision. Adlor's thinking, what should I do? What should I do? Yeah, I'm gonna say a bounce up to the potion shop for a magic refill. Probably not a bad idea.
Yep, especially if you're thinking Ice Palace next.
Yeah, and it's a clearable dungeon, and with Samaria it can go pretty fast, so that's probably on both our runners' minds, I would think.
And Adler actually needs the magic just to get through the first room. First look at King's Tomb from Barnage's side. I don't think we've seen Hobo yet.
No, neither of the runners did anything flipper check-wise. Would you do the flipper checks before going into ice in the hopes of just grabbing a couple more hearts?
I think I would do Hobo. I don't think I would do the other ones, though. Just because Hobo is, like, sort of on the way.
I would agree. Barnard's actually gonna call me a liar and go to Skull Woods, it looks like.
Oh, that's true. Fire Rod does make that an option.
Yeah, and they never went into Skull Woods when they first came over here, so this makes a lot of sense for them.
I would say it is the comfier dungeon when compared to Ice Palace, so yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
I don't know. Mothla's terrible. I mean, you're right. Let's just say it and put it out there. You're 100% correct.
It's slightly less terrible than Ice Palace.
Are we just looking for a medallion?
The mirror as well for Swamp.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. I was just like, wait a minute, hold on. Do numbers, add math.
That's a good point. We are pretty close to no mode. Oh,
Well.
Speaking of mirror. So yeah, we're just looking for Quake, right?
Yeah, so to what you were saying earlier, Adalor needs that Quake to be buried pretty deep somewhere. If it's just on the critical path, it could be pretty rough times.
Oh yeah, chat mentioning we do need desert access as well, so either the flute or the book. I always forget about that.
I mean, it's desert. Do you really need it? Do you think the game would mind if we just skipped it? I don't think so.
There's the one of the two bad medallions. Barnage only has 3 hearts here for Moth. Blue Mail helps quite a bit though. Easy.
Doesn't need a great fight.
Yep, he could have just had 1 heart.
Yeah, that was very impressive. The trick with that fight, especially with Hammer, is to get above the Moth. And so as he tries to fly back up, you have a greater range with your Hammer to knock him back down away from the spikes. But great job.
Adalor about to drop into Cold Stare. A very spooky fight, but they've got a few potions to use.
Yeah, the normal strategy to pin the Cold Stare puffs in the corner is a lot harder with the Hammer, it turns out. Great job. Yeah, good example of in any mode, but this one especially. If you've got the safeties, just use them. Don't be a hero. Going all the way back through Ice Palace is really hard.
Bottles and Bugnet go a long way in this mode. So the nice thing with finding that mirror in Ice Palace is now the flipper checks are right there for you. See going either way from Ice Palace there. You could go up to Hobo, you could go to Zora. Problem with Zora, even though it's more items, is that you're kind of orphaning Catfish that way.
My apologies, I had to step away for a second. Did I miss anything good?
Nothing new. Junk at Hobo, that's it.
Gross. Yeah, okay, there you go. I was a little surprised Barnage just didn't immediately save and quit after checking the bumper ledge, but they got it. Adler are going to follow the item and go right in the swamp with their shiny new mirror.
Yep, it's another fully clearable crystal dungeon. From our perspective, all we're looking for is Quake here. It very well could be in Swamp. If it's not in Swamp, then I think it has to be somewhere kind of out of the way.
In times like this, I like to ask chat and see all the terrible things they can think up for these kind of items. So chat, where's the Quake Medallion?
Although if there's an item still in Armos, we haven't seen that yet either. That could also be on the way.
That seems a little too friendly.
A little bit. And we did see a map in the first chest of Swamp. Might make you want to do left side a little bit more.
Vanilla Quake, Helmasar. Yes. Yes, I like all of these. Tablets, yes.
Ah, yes, and Desert Access. I keep forgetting about Desert Access.
No, who needs Desert
It's
Access?
the most forgettable go mode in this game.
Oh, yeah, there have been times where I have been doing such things, and all of a sudden, just go moding dungeons to remember, oh yeah, Desert's a thing. Oh no.
Oh yeah, that one Light World dungeon, I still have to do that.
Quake on Lambo, behind book that's on pedestal. The very slick ice skating from Barnage there in that room.
We're going left side, no hesitation. I mean, you're still looking for 3 ice rods, more or less. And you've already found the map. I think I would do this too.
Yep, you've got the items to make it faster. You're here. Just get rid of it. You don't want to come back to this area ever again, so I'm fine with this.
Barnage is going off to this the switch room to get a magic refill. I haven't... Oh, Quake on left side swamp. Hold on. That is potentially an out for Edlor.
Yeah, that's one of those gross, out-of-the-way places that Adalor kind of needs these things to be sitting, but as we were discussing with Adalor, I would assume Barnage would just do the whole dungeon since they're here.
Probably, although I would say, since Barnage already has the Ice Rod, it's a little more tempting to skip left side.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Yeah, you've already found one bad item. What are the odds?
But I mean, you still need Quake and either Book Flute, so I think I probably still would do it anyway, but it is more tempting to skip, definitely.
I didn't see what was in the big chest, did you?
No, I didn't catch it.
Well, I would say if it's a dungeon item, then there's only one item on left side swamp, because the big key was also over there.
Oh, that's a good point.
If they rush the back, one item's like, what are the odds? So if they rush the back, it might be an indication. Oh, okay, it was a heart. Okay, so maybe there would be 2 items left, which is a little more of a pull to go back in if that's the case.
Okay, Barnage is gonna go to Zora from here. Or quick items. You kind of orphaned Catfish, but whatever. Catfish was meant to be orphaned.
Right, yeah, something's got to be last. It might as well be Catfish. Or using a technique that I just learned today, that you can use silver arrows on the puffs. Who knew?
Yeah, this strat is actually awesome. It's so much better than menuing. And it's even more awesome if you happen to be in this fight and you still haven't found a boomerang yet, so you only have to quick stop once. Until you accidentally mirror out, and then it's not awesome anymore.
Let me tell you a story about mirroring out at the worst possible time that I saw today. I saw a league race that someone was on the top of GT and mirrored.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I've done it in Swamp. Not sure if I've done it in GT.
So it looks like Barnage is going to go grab Eastern. That'll open up the Pyramid Fairy, so when they do Swamp, they can do that as well if they haven't found what they need. I like this play.
Oh, that's a good point. I forgot Eastern was one of the 5/6 crystals.
I only know because our tracker said it was in Logic earlier, and so I looked what they were again. Speaking of our tracker, let's shout him out. Homemade Beer is doing the tracking and the restreaming today because he's amazing. Everyone thank Homemade Beer.
He's truly a Renaissance gamer. Adler's gonna go look at Lumberjack. They haven't done that yet.
Yeah, if you're on your way to Skullwoods, it's no better time to do it. What you had said earlier about doing it before going up the mountain, obviously, is the ideal time, but get it now. Just don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah, plus now Adler has boots too, so it actually would be in Logic.
Barnage, despite being overpowered, decides to give the Igor a chance and take a few hits. It's very sportsmanlike of them.
So at this rate, I'm thinking it's probably either Flute or Book and TR. Assuming Barnage does left side swamp, TR is fully clearable. So that would definitely be the logical next move.
Yeah, right. Especially with this play to do Pyramid Fairy, you just do it, take out Swamp, and then run right up the mountain. You would do Pyramid Fairy first in this spot, wouldn't you? Hoping it has what you need, and just fast clear swamp, or faster clear swamp, essentially.
I think I would still do swamp first. 2 items from go mode. You're probably not hitting go mode at Pyramid Fairy, so save a couple screen transitions this way.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. My thought is just, if book is there or whatever, and then you find your Quake early or vice versa, you to guarantee not have to do left side swamp, but I guess that is some wishful thinking.
I can see it for sure. You always want to try to find excuses to skip left side swamp. That's part of why, in general, I do try to avoid swamp till late in the seed. Want the most information possible.
If I'm near it, and I've got enough items to get in, I'll dive it. Just to be random. It's burned me more times than it's saved me, but the times it's been saved me, it's been pretty great.
So let's see. I guess there must have been an item in Skull Big Chest, because I know Adler dipped this early.
Yeah, I thought they had found one item, so the Heart Off Moth would have been enough, but I must have miscounted.
Blew my mind when I learned you can just walk around that hole. In
Right?
Skull Woods.
Oh, it's just another heart, okay.
Yeah, a little unfortunate that they had to go back there. Having already dipped the dungeon earlier in the seed. And Bardage is in fact going to left side swamp.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Barters didn't have the mirror when he was in this area, so couldn't do Graveyard Ledge. Oh, I saw the grain and thought of the book. I'm like, oh no.
It's a sword, yay. So from here, Adler could continue to catfish, and then Zora too. That would be our first look at catfish.
Yeah, Battlelord did Catfish and just roped it down toward the Pod Eastern area. Could definitely be a save.
So Barnage officially only one item away from go mode, but we don't know which item necessarily. And I mean, maybe both of them are available, book and flute. More likely than not, one is just in GT. But it's possible we could even see some go mode divergence. And just a shield on catfish.
It's the worst possible option.
Whereas the one mode where you really want the fairy to actually give you something useful in your bottle, it's a B. I'm very curious where Adler is going to go next. I mean, one way or the other, you'd think it has to be Eastern. But how, if at all, do you rope pod into that, I wonder?
Well, I mean, if you're going to do pod, now's the time, right? Just hit the portal, mirror into the front of Eastern, you don't find what you need, hit the portal and go back in. Their checks are pretty thin as far as density at this point. What else is there?
Yeah.
Besides going into TR and hoping you find the ice route there. You're already in this area, might as well do pod first.
Yep, or at least walk there and then mirror, so you have a portal available.
Right. Yeah, I would definitely do Eastern first before pod in this scenario, because you have to do Eastern, and if it's what you want or leads to something you want, then you just skip out on pod.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
knowing that we've already seen Eastern and it's not going to have anything, yeah, this is the right play.
There is still that item on Helma.
Yeah, that is Adalor's biggest out right now. If any of the items that get you into desert is in Helma, he's in a much better shape.
Yep, that would be a hard last location for Barnage, no doubt.
Right, but there are two ways into desert at this point, and the other one could easily just be in TR, which would be the best thing for Barnage.
Yeah, that's true too. Maybe they're both in TR. Because this game is funny.
That would just be sad, unfortunately.
What else do we even have besides TR at this point? From our perspective. Is there even anything?
Nothing? No, I think between the runners
and Helmasaur.
Right. I think between the runners we've seen it. Well, I guess that's another question. If you're Adalor and you see that ice rod, let's say you go into pod and you see the ice rod and you're thinking, yes, this is the move I needed to make. Do you take out Helmasaur, or do you just assume it's in TR and go?
Alright, we still have Bag of Thieves. That's an option. I don't think we've seen Purple Chest either. Adalor did Smith without the mirror. I don't think Barnage did either of them.
Yeah, Barnage didn't. Oh, you're right. Yeah, he didn't have a mirror. I don't think he did. Yeah, I don't think he did Purple Chest.
Oh, did Barnage not actually do PF at all? I just assumed he was going to do it after Swamp. But
Oh,
I guess
no, that's a good
maybe
point. They just
that didn't
skipped
happen.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Quake would have been the tip-off of, oh, no. Just go up there.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's an interesting choice. I don't know if I would have made the same, but... Because if it's just sitting in Pyramid Fairy, then it's one more trip up the mountain and you're done.
Yeah, I'm sure he's planning on it going into Swamp, but then, like you said, finding that Quake, it changes the situation a little bit.
That's very interesting.
Alright, Adalor made their way to Pod. That's good news. The Ice Rod is here. So we'll just have to see how do they play Helmasaur.
I'll put you on the spot, Skelly. What would you do if you saw, as soon as you see that ice rod? What do you do?
I'm a pretty diehard pendant Helmo skipper, to be honest.
Yeah, I am the same. Oh, never mind.
And that is go mode. So, taking stock of the situation, I'd say Barnage is basically a dungeon ahead at this point.
Oh yeah, at least.
I do hope at least one of them ends up finding the book anyway, though, just because I'm curious. Or, sorry, not the book, the flute. Just because I'm very curious. Like I said, I bet it's probably just in GT.
Yeah, that makes the most sense now. Oh, nice half magic.
Half magic. Yeah, that's really helpful in this mode.
Yeah, and as someone who just spams and abuses the fire rod on the climb, half magic is something I want to see every seed.
Alright, decision time for Adalor incoming. There's the ice rod. Certainly, you still do Dark Maze. And
Yeah, I
what
think you still do the Dark Maze, clearly.
And Barnage can just skip everything. There's really nothing you can find at this point that would help at all. You already have silvers. Decent amount of health. Half magic.
Yeah, 2 bottles, blue mail.
Oh, Adalor is going for Helma. Looks like. It's definitely a very awkward call to have to make. Because you do have Turtle Rock, which is a clearable crystal, but you're already here. And besides, if you can find Go Mode before Turtle Rock, that will save you another Death Mountain climb.
Yeah, I can definitely see the logic behind, I'm already here, I'm already late to this, essentially. I mean, not really. Nothing that they did was out of the way or crazy. But I don't want to have to come back because I'm already here, and I took the time to clear everything else.
And even an hour and 13 minutes into the seed, Barnard still has to go to Desert the Terrible Way. Which is by running all the way there and using the book.
And Helma has nothing.
For a split second, I thought that was the flute.
Me too. I was like, oh. I don't know that it makes up enough time, but it does, take away one mountain climb, which is nice.
Yeah, it wouldn't be enough at this point, but it would be funny, that's for sure.
Adalor running back, I assume, probably to do Pyramid Fairy at this point. Can't assume this is faster, though.
Yeah, maybe just Pyramid Ledge. She already did Catfish earlier.
Yep.
It's like maybe a little bit of confusion there. I don't think he's seen this item yet. Maybe now going back for the big bomb.
Yeah, maybe thinking that if it's just on Pyramid Fairy, I don't have to do the big bomb, but I think you would just do the big bomb regardless.
Difficult RNG on that first land mill. Fortunately, not able to get the one cycle, but Barnage is in perfectly okay shape at this point, to say the least. We did see the powder from Pyramid Fairy. It's a nice safety to have.
Spam the numbers, chat.
I'm thinking 6. It's gonna be friendly today. Oh, Adler's going to Thieves Town, interesting. Or Purple Chest, maybe?
Just really hoping to have to climb that mountain only one more time.
Yeah, at this point you might not be feeling too good in this situation, so you might just be metagaming against Turtle Rock. Makes sense to follow up the powder, like you already committed to doing Pyramid Fairy. So either you're making the right decision and you want to follow through with it, or you figure, I already spent time on Pyramid Fairy, I'm probably going to lose anyway if it's wrong, so might as well double down.
Yeah, you've made the choice now, so you're just gonna have to go with it and hope it works out.
Yeah.
Anything less just hurts. And yeah, much like Spike Cave, Magic Bat never has anything.
Always like seeing what routes people decide to do for GT. I think there's never ever going to be a consensus on this.
No, there's too many options, and then once you add random rush and everything into it, the important thing with GT routing is there's not one that's right. Statistically, there may be some that are slightly better than others. It's really simple. Pick the one that you like and always do it. It's going to work out sometimes, it's going to screw you sometimes. It's just how it's going to be. Welcome to Rando.
It's chest number 3. 4, 5, 6. I lost.
Damn.
Well,
Is that Vanilla Compass, though?
oh, Adler's doing Ice Rod Cave. I wasn't even looking. I forgot he hasn't done this yet.
Oh no, this would feel terrible if this was the answer.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly just metagaming at this point. Like, you gotta play to your outs.
Right, because if it's in TR and you got that ice shot what you perceive to be late, and if it's there, you're already in trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Barnes can fake powder now. Just in case. I'd be lying if I said I haven't done it on GT before.
What, fake pattern? For like a magic refill?
For the health refill.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
for Mold Arm.
Oh, you're talking about powdering the anti-fairies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like racking my brain, like, what glitch is that? Never mind. I'll be here if you need anything.
Here's our blue cane. Usually you hope to find that a little bit earlier in this mode. And of course, the big key has to be behind Ice Armos or Tile Room. Because we can't have nice things.
Yeah, I was going to make the comment when we got here that, you know, alright, swordless mode, I'm getting into GT sub 120 or 118, whatever it was, feeling pretty good. Now you're like, oh, come on.
Yep.
Hey, 21. Rip my points.
It's definitely a lot harder to execute GT in this mode. Barnard has a ton of health though, so it's pretty unrealistic that he would die or something. So hard to imagine the lead changing at this point. Unless he dies again in like 4 times. Which, I've seen people do it in Swordless.
I've seen people do it in casual boots.
Yeah.
I have been that thing that has done it a few times. Yeah, if you're Adalor, seeing that book has got to feel pretty bad. But again, I mean, nothing against them or their race or the choices they made. It was just choosing to go west instead of dependent pod right after hitting Darkworld Axis. That was only the real major difference outside execution.
Outside that red Zyzax there, Barnes has been having a great gauntlet. He killed so much stuff with the hammer. That is not easy.
Yeah, no, I will default to the Fire Rod pretty quickly in this mode, especially. Good job recognizing that that shooter had knocked him off the spot for the second. Lambo decided to ditch it and go for the third one.
All in all, a very good climb for Barnage. Making it look easy.
Yeah, very clean, very efficient. Well done.
It's easy to forget how difficult this dungeon actually is once you lose all of your muscle memory for it by not having a sword.
Yeah, great point. Swordless is one of those modes that even some seasoned veterans will look at and have to let me go through this again.
Yeah, it's sort of like you have to relearn how to walk or something. Kind of take the sword for granted if you've been playing for a long time.
Yeah, this sword especially. You're used to just dashing up the sword, pushing all the mini helmets out of the way, and nope.
Yeah, this room is actually so terrible.
Great setup for the first hit.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, I thought he might line it up.
Not sure if that first one actually counted as a triple, but it was certainly very cool.
Looked good enough.
Yeah. I mean, getting a double in swordless already is very difficult.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that when it comes to swordless, you really got to learn the timing of bouncing those balls back with the hammer. You can use the net as well, which is why a lot of people in swordless will want it. It's not just a meme item in this mode. But the timing of that spin is a lot different. It's a lot slower than sword spins, and so you have to get that timing down as well. Though dashing with the net enables the tip box and can help in certain cases.
Yeah, that was an excellent fight. And of course, this would normally be impossible, but when you're playing with swordless mode, Ganon actually does take damage from the hammer. Same amount as Tempered Sword normally would, so 12 hits per phase. Really nice use of the hook shot there. This is where the fight gets really, really annoying.
Yeah, Barnage. Oh, I was gonna say, keeping track of the number of hits he's got, trying to line it up so he has just enough, but has the fairy, so no panic yet. But phase 2 with that short range of the hammer is no joke.
Yep, and he's got at least one more fairy too. He's through the worst of it, so shouldn't have any more problems from here.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why in this mode and most swordless modes, in fact, when you get the bow, it's a guaranteed silvers. Because if you didn't, having to hit Ganon right before he teleports, like with a spinning sword, is borderline impossible. It's doable, it's just terrible, and it will keep you up at night.
Yep. Not really worth the time investment of learning it. Unless you're like a diehard swordless enthusiast and you play this all the time.
And if that's the case, we have hotlines for you to call.
Yeah.
Barnage playing it safe, let the warps go past. A fastball there. And there's
Nice
triple. Good job.
Get your GGs in chat. Very well played seed by Maximum Barnage here, taking the win.
And Maximum Barnage crosses the finish line with an official racetime.gg time of 1:31:12. GG's. And I see Maximum Barnage in the waiting room, so...
Test.
And we welcome our winner, Maximum Barnage, into the booth. GG's.
Yeah, that was I felt pretty good about that one.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about glove logic.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had it so that basically if it wasn't in Zelda's cell, or if the first glove wasn't in Zelda's cell or Dark Cross, then, you know, I was going to be doing Aga. I was going to strand that bottle bender, and I was hoping that that wouldn't burn me. And then, I already kind of, I wanted to get the, pendant knowledge in order to figure out where to go in the Dark World, and I didn't have any of it except that Meyer was a pendant. But since I knew that all the pendants in the Dark World, I was like, okay, let me just do Hype Cave and, you know, sort out where everything is before I commit to, like, taking the slow Kakariko portal. And that led me to Bow, and I was like, all right, so let's just go to Pod. I mean, it's not like I have anywhere better to go, you know, because of where the pendants were. And so Pod led me to Ice Rod, which was nice. And then as soon as I got the Titansman in Village, it was like, all right, like, I really don't need to touch thieves. I was really nervous about that for a long while, especially as items started to get thin. I was like, if it's there, I'm going to be in trouble. But yeah, I mean, honestly, once I got the Titansman, it was just one item kind of led to another all the way through the end of the seed.
Right. We want to take a moment to welcome Adalor to the booth. GG's.
GG's.
GG Adalor.
It sounds like you kind of just nailed this seed, like you found everything in just like the correct order.
Yeah, I mean, it really just worked out. So.
Yeah, we were discussing glove logic and how that glove in Zelda Cell and where the mitts were kind of had to tell you where the hook could not and could be. And so heading over to Pod, thinking maybe, you know, the access or the other glove or the hook was there, kind of led them to the Ice Rod really early. It was kind of a bailout. Mm-hmm. Maybe not a bailout, but definitely the right call at the time.
Wait, I'm not sure I'm understanding. Can't you just, like, cack portal to that at second glove?
So the glove in Zelda's Cell was actually your logical mitts, because the small key to Hyrule Castle was in Back of Escape.
and it was locked by the glove.
Yep. So this was actually
missed that. Oh
this
my
was
god.
actually a logical agaseed. That's funny you say that because the way you routed it,
Yeah.
like perfectly aligned with what you would do if you knew that those were the logical mitts, like rushing pod.
Yeah, so that's why we assumed you went to pod, still being a pendant, thinking, oh, the first glove or the hook has to be here to get me access. We just like, oh yeah, he's got it figured out. Well done. Way to catch on to that.
Yeah, I'm real smart, guys. Really smart. I've got the galaxy brain on the logic. Of course, yes, that's
Pretty
exactly
great.
what I did. Nice commentary, guys. I appreciate you.
So by the time you left pod, after getting the ice rod, we knew that the hook shot actually had to be either on Helmasaur, on Sick Kid, Dig Game, or Stumpy. There were actually only 4 logical locations left between the two of you. So it was very interesting to see how that played out.
Oh, so I guess that Helmasaur had an item, so I guess skipping that probably was not a good idea with that logical implication.
Maybe not, but I mean, it worked out.
Yeah.
It went your way at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally, like if there's an item in the cell, I have a handle on that logic, but I completely forgot to even think about that. I was just like, oh, a glove, that's nice. And
Wow.
yeah, normally
I
I
did the
would
exact same out of
I would pay attention to that logic because we've seen many a race where there's an item in the cell and you gotta think, okay, where's the key? What's locking the key? What does that say about the logical access for this item? But I whiffed that entirely this scene. I was too busy thinking about, okay, now what? There's a glove. Cool. What do I do now?
Well, I was mostly like trying to keep that lucky fairy around for a good long portion of the seed. Like I kept thinking about releasing it, and then the game gave me a reason to not release it. Like I was in Zelda Cell, I was like, all right, time to release the fairy to Death Warp, and then I got the glove. I'm like, all right, now I'm keeping it.
Yeah, I did
And
the same
then
thing.
I was in Dark Cross and was like, all right, I gotta release this fairy to Death Warp, and I'm like, I'm still a little low on hearts. Let's just keep it.
I drop it in anticipation of death warping, and after the glove, I'm like, oh, I'll just save and quit and go to the back instead. I already dropped the fairy, but then I would have dropped that fairy later in Thief Town anyway, so whatever. I couldn't hang on to it for that long.
Right, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, I definitely like. I practiced this mode a lot, leading into this using the asyncs, and every time, like, I thought I was getting better at it. Like I would take a stupid death, or I would do like this mode's just really hard.
Mm.
And so I definitely prioritized safeties like a lot, and keeping them and making sure that I could be aggressive on boss fights because I had fairies. Like that to me is like how you go fast in this mode, not like YOLOing it and hoping you don't die.
Yeah, like I went and bought blue potions before, or 2 blues before Cold Stare, and used them both just because I'm like, I'm not taking any chances with this boss in particular. Yep. Cold Stare is like, assuming you don't have the vow for Victorious, I think Cold Stare is the worst boss in Swordless.
Yeah, agreed. I completely agree with that decision.
I'm like, without half magic, I'm just gonna load up on magic and just throw fire rod shots everywhere and not take any chances.
Right on.
Yep, you both executed the seed quite well. Like no unintentional deaths anywhere, at least not without a fairy revive.
Yep. Yeah. I think I just had the one on Ganon. So beyond that, I think I didn't beat any fairy revives, which was good. I felt really good about like, except for a couple of instances where I had some like D-pad issues where I just like dashed the wrong way. I felt like execution-wise was pretty good. So.
Yeah, both of you had really good swordless boss fights throughout. We commented several times on both runners of, the Argus fight with Silvers was really well. Both had good Mothula fights, to where that can just trip up runners if you're not used to just using hammer. So yeah, it was a great show from both of you.
So I felt really stupid this week because in all of my asyncs, I just practiced jamming the quick swap menu to get from the hook shot to the hammer, no matter how many weapons I have. And I think I did that for the first one and missed it because I'd picked up Quake and I hadn't tracked it yet. And then I was like early this week, yesterday, I watched Nintenbro, my teammate, do the Silvers thing, and I was like, you can do that? You can shoot the puffballs with Silvers? I was like,
yep.
Right? I learned that today, and I'm like, I had no idea.
I was like, I practiced this really quick menu swap for nothing. I feel bad now.
You have the bow, it's super nice. I think they died of fire rod and ice rod shots too, but they take multiple hits. But like, yeah, the silvers is a very good option.
Yeah.
Or no, it's one hit on them. Never mind. Yeah, you can fire an ice rod them too, but that's a bit less optimal.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tough, honestly.
It's even better if you don't have the boomerang and you're doing that silver strap.
Yeah, because I think we saw that yesterday with Ninja Bro. There was stuff in between hookshot and bow, right?
Yep. And I was also like really nervous because I practiced it one time before this race. Like that's the only time I practiced using the silvers, and I'm like, mirrors right there, and I really hope I don't screw this up.
Just don't double tap and mirror, and you're like, whoops, there goes a few minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, we brought that up too. We're like, gotta be a little careful.
Yeah, I was really taking those quick swaps slow to make sure I didn't overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
I will admit, the first time I ever tried that strat in a race, I did mirror, and I felt so bad.
Oh no.
That's
props to you for not making that mistake. It's very easy to do.
The only quick swap error I made was just accidentally mashing the map button once, but otherwise I think I was on point with them, at least.
Yeah, I had a couple of bad like maps and going into menu, and I probably didn't need to, but just like, you know,
yeah,
those are pretty minor things, all things told. Like as far as mistakes that can happen in a swordless seed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, in the grand scheme of things, there's so many other places where
yeah.
execution makes a much bigger deal.
Well, if there's nothing else from our runners, we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up. Any final words, guys?
No, GG's was nice. It was nice playing against you and your team this week, Adalor.
Yeah, it's been fun. I wasn't exactly looking forward to Swordless Week, but I mean, considering I think I played well enough, just kind of got radioed really hard. Like the seed gave you a lot of opportunity to find the stuff in the correct order, and I did not stumble upon that path. But it's yeah, I'm happy with my execution at least. So yeah.
I totally understand your aversion to going to the mountain to, you know,
Yeah,
one of two items so that you can not have to climb again. Like
yeah, it's like because there's book and did you find flute? Was it anywhere?
Never found flute. No.
Okay, so yeah, who knows where that was? But yeah, the book and the flute just being like, well, I need desert access, and if I get lucky and they're not on the mountain, then I can do one less mountain trip, which saves a good chunk of time. But yeah. I cleaned up so much trying to find one of them. I'm like, I'm probably just way behind now at this point. Sure enough. Yeah, GG's again. This was it was fun.
Yeah, it was a good week. Thanks for comms and restream and tracking all who did that. Much appreciated.
Why, that would be Homemade Beer, who did the restream and the tracking. Everyone thank Homemade Beer.
Thank you, Homemade Beer.
Thanks, beer.
All right, take care, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, both. Thanks to our runners. Again, thanks to my co-com Skelly. If you're interested in more Invitational Swordless Week on SpeedGaming 3, there's another race that started a short time ago. I think maybe there might be another one, another Open Division race at 9. Don't quote me on that. It's kind of up in the air right now. But I've been telling 116, and Skelly, I'll let you sign us off.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. It was a pleasure commentating this with you, Talon. And stay tuned for more swordless action.
Good night, everyone.